I was just beginning to end a 40-minute phone conversation with one of our recent alums out there in the world for the first time in his life when he asked, "So Gary, what are you working on these days?" And I started to answer in terms of the CSC. We're doing this and that, and the freshmen are really cool. And then he repeated his question, and he goes, "But what are you working on? What are you working on right now in your personal life to become a better man, to be better at love?" We ended the conversation as it was getting on to 1 a.m. by then by asking each other, "So when it comes to tomorrow then, what is the first thing you will put on your calendar to work on that will be perhaps the hardest thing you will do that day to further your dream? To further your dream for your business and for your personal relationships. And for your personal relationships." You guys plan everything. Sometimes you plan down to the minute, it seems. There are apps galore now that help us do just that. Plan our day, plan our lives. Apparently, Jesus is a big fan of this. Jesus is a big fan of planning. Not what might qualify as OCD planning, which I see often around here, where we go crazy if we can't check something off the list or if plans change. But nevertheless, he understands the things that are worth doing or worth planning to do. The things that are worth doing in your life are worth planning to do, or they just might not happen. Listen again to these two stories Jesus probably took right from the headlines of the Jerusalem Gazette. Is there anyone here who, planning to build a new house, doesn't first sit down and figure out the costs so they'll know if they can complete it? If you only get the foundation laid and then you run out of money, you're going to look pretty stupid. Everyone passing by is going to poke fun at you. He started something he couldn't finish. He started something he couldn't finish. Maybe even your life. You started something that maybe you can't even finish. Or, he went on to say, you can imagine a king going into battle against another king without first deciding whether it's possible with 10,000 troops to face 20,000 troops from the other. And if he decides he can't, he's going to send an emissary to work out a truce. A quote from the artist Picasso: "Our goals can only be reached through the vehicle of a plan. Our goals can only be reached through the vehicle of a plan in which we must fervently believe and upon which we must vigorously act. There is no other route to success." The backbone of success in our work and in our relationships with each other is good planning. It falls to us to plan our work every day and to work our plan every day. We all witnessed this past week that planning can actually save lives. Hurricane Dorian reminded us in no uncertain terms that plans work. Even in the uncertain path of a hurricane, plans work. You who are from the southeast know that better than any of us right now, and what it's like and how necessary it is to prepare. For more than a week, 2 weeks actually, the governments have been trying to help people be prepared for that monster storm. They knew the more prepared they were, the more likely they were to survive. People were running from water and hiding from the wind. I don't know if you've noticed this over the years of your life, but growing, personal growth, does not just happen accidentally. It doesn't just happen. It takes planning to grow personally in life. Some things in life help us realize that our brand of crazy is keeping us from life. And so it might be time, if life's going to begin to show up for us, if we take care of that crazy, if we drill down on that crazy in us that's keeping us from more successful relationships, community life, friendships of any sort, and do something about it now. There are things about us, and you know this if you stop to think about your life, and I think you do. You know this. There are things about us, attitudes that keep cropping up, repeated behaviors, patterns, emotions, the way we do emotions, that end up hurting the very people we want to hurt the least, resulting in our lives being way lonelier than they needed to be and full of unnecessary suffering. This past summer, I had the occasion to work with a mentor in some group studies we were doing up east, and she proposed to us that one of the best ways to change is to do what she called a 48-hour fast. Take 48 hours, drill down on something you want to work on in your life to be more successful in relationships and in love. 48 hours, a 48-hour fast. I did a 48-hour fast from complaining. Within a day, a 9-year-old said, "Father Gary, aren't you complaining right now?" But I'm telling you, these 48-hour fasts have been very fruitful for me for the last maybe 6 weeks or so since I got back. Really remarkable. They heighten my awareness, first of all, of where this stuff is in my life so I can pay attention. And secondly, they really do begin to change behaviors, I can say. Some of the things I've had to drill down on in my life that perhaps could stir something in you. And they're different for all of us, and some of these are told to me by other people I appreciate and love very much who've been working on these things too, drilling down in these 48-hour fasts. Be clear about what you want. How many of us are so unclear about what we want and then get all upset when people don't match us in our needs, like they're supposed to read our minds? Be clear about what you want. Say it out loud. Focus when others are talking, Gary. Don't keep interrupting with my take on that or my experience of that or, oh, my kids went through that too. Be kind when I'm anxious. Sometimes anxiety causes me, others perhaps, to be a little meaner, a little crabbier, a little more firm than we need to be because it's anxiety talking, really, nothing else. Overcome that fear of rejection. Ask good questions instead of waiting for somebody else to ask you good questions. Don't dwell on your mistakes. Embrace change. Let go of stupid dreams. Stop self-doubt. Get over it. For just 48 hours, take a cynic fast. Be a little less private. Be patient and let time do its job. Be just you. Practice joy. 48 hours. For just 48 hours, drill down on it. And see, watch what happens. A goal without a plan, my friends, a goal without a plan is just a wish. Let me tell you, a good marriage, a good friendship ain't just gonna happen. Both in that friendship, both in that marriage, need to grow in their capacity to love, need to grow themselves, each of them, in their capacity to love each other in healthy, life-giving ways. We have 2 anniversaries here this morning. Maybe there's more, but there's only 2 I'm aware of. Joe and Janet Chepchuk are celebrating their 30th wedding anniversary today. Way to go, you guys. By the way, they're the host and hostess of the gala this year. Congratulations. And also, if you notice, the deacon is sitting with his wife this morning. They're celebrating their 52nd today. But they would be the first to tell you that if one of them grows without the other one, there's stuff that's going to not happen in that relationship. One will be dragged along then with the progress, the growth of the other, or the kicking and screaming, most likely, if you know these guys. Or the relationship will crack, snap, crash. if they're both not growing, each in the way they need to grow to become more capable of being close to each other. We all have this stuff. It's a good relationship that begins to identify those things for us. We take the time to reflect on it and then put into practice a plan so that we don't crash and crack and burn. I've seen it in so many marriages and so many friendships, in so much community life. If my goal is to be more capable of love, to literally become love as I move through life, evolving into love, into the image of my Christ as the end point of my life, that doesn't just happen. There's certain things in me, there's certain things in each of us that we got to drill down on if this is going to work. We got to make a plan. First thing tomorrow, I'm gonna, or it will not happen. Like I said, a goal without a plan is nothing more than a wish. Make no mistake about it, my friends, in every relationship in your life, there's a hurricane a-coming. Every relationship has them. We need to do the work now, plan now, so that this love will survive, even flourish. You and I have apps galore to help us make these plans. We have to-do lists up the wazoo. We understand the value of planning in business, and you who are students understand the absolute necessity of planning to get your work done in time and to get the A on the test. But how about in love? How about in love? For the last couple of weeks, maybe 4 or 5 weeks now, I've carried a little tiny poem in my pocket to remind me. It's entitled Late Fragment by a poet named Raymond Carter. It's just 6 lines. But to me, it's almost so simple, it's disarming and somewhat poignant, I would say, as well. And I leave you with these words of this poem because I want to make sure you can answer like the poet did before it comes to the end of your life. This was the last poem he wrote when he died at the age of 50. And did you get what you wanted from this life? Even so, I did. And what did you want? To call myself beloved, to feel myself beloved on the earth. Did you get what you wanted from this life? Even so, I did.